Okay, let's have a quick look at introductions. We're just looking at this question here. We're looking at this. This is what we basically we have to do in the exam. So this is really the criteria here. Analyze specified aspects of studied visual or oral text supported by evidence. Now, we looked at that in our last little bit of teaching. So I'll also just remind you of this stuff. This is our wheel of knowledge that we really have to have a good idea of. And I've said, you need maybe 4 of these to really have a decent crack at answering all the different combinations of questions that we might come up with in the exam. Now, this little list here were the exam questions that last year's cohort of Year 12 English students across the country had to deal with. And some of them are going to suit us, and some of them are not. Okay, I've had a bit of a scan through these, and I think we could probably comfortably have a crack at maybe half of them. And today, what I'd like to have a bit of a look at is number 2. Analyze how language features were used to create a powerful emotional moment. Now, the words of the question matter. And what we have to think about are some powerful emotional moments. That for the first part, through our movie, and I've got some suggestions here of moments that were important moments. Sometimes these could be called turning points, or dramatic scenes. In this case, a powerful emotional moment. I've got some examples. Entering the prison for the first time, the roof of the license plate factory, and the scene that played out there with Andy. Brooks's terribly sad little montage where he commits suicide, playing the aria on the prison PA system. Andy's escape, Red meeting Andy on the beach could all be used as examples of powerful emotional moments. Now, I just thought that we'll look at Andy's little act of rebellion where he locks the guard out, and it's about 1 hour and 7 seconds into the movie if you're wanting to refresh your memory of that. So, I've got lots of detail here that we'll cover maybe in a bit at another time, but I've got these up the top here. Language, we've got voiceover, we've got diegetic and non-diegetic sound, we've got high angle shots, we've got close-up shots, we've got panning. So we've got a number of those are fairly vague. Okay, we need to be more specific. So all this stuff here are specific examples. So we've got an idea, and that's part of the work that needs to go on in the background. You need to have an idea of these things for 2 or 3 scenes at least. This is just examples continued. And like I said, we'll have another look at that. Now, I have these, the multi-purpose introduction, and we've talked about these different paragraph types, but I'm going to look at how we can repurpose this multi-purpose introduction to suit ourselves. It says it's 4 sentence, but sometimes we can add a little bit more to it, especially in the second part where we offer a bit in the way of context. Now, we need to add keywords from our question, so it's not real vague and neutral at the start. It's a bit more targeted towards answering the question. So in doing that, we are going to yes, we need to have a clear plan of what we're going to talk about. So the powerful emotional moment in the Shawshank Redemption, I've got this example here, was when Andy Dufresne played the marriage of Figaro through the prison PA system. Now, that's supposed to be our first and neutral sentence, okay? And so we've launched straight into the question here, the powerful emotional moment. And we have to add a little bit of context. So Andy had received some supplies from the library and was briefly unsupervised by the prison guards. Then we go on to our argument sentence. This essay will argue, or this essay will show And in this case, this essay will show how, through the use of language techniques, director Frank Darabont is able to turn this act of rebellion by Andy Dufresne into a powerful emotional moment. So once again, we've got those words from the question, which is language techniques, and we've got this powerful emotional moment, and then our little sum up sentence, not just an emotional moment, it is a symbol of freedom. Okay, we probably could add a little bit more to that, but that's how we'd go about writing an introduction. But of course, before writing the introduction, you have to have all that other stuff going on in the background. You have to know the scene you're going to talk about, and you have to know some examples from that scene. So we'll look at a later time about how we would go about using that information to write body paragraphs. And then, of course, finally, a conclusion.